You need to listen to this podcast on how to make America mediocre for once. And the only person that could pull this off is the most mediocre person I've ever met, John Hicks. What do you call this thing? The retirement solution with you? That's very mediocre. I approve.
Helping you solve the retirement puzzle. Welcome to the Retirement Solution with John Hicks.
Here with John Hicks this week. I'm Jennifer Perry. And remember, we'd love to tackle some of your questions here on the podcast. So if you have those questions for us, just drop us an email through our website. You can find us online at retirementsolutionradio.com. And if you've listened to this show for any time at all, you kind of know how John feels about some of the absurd proposals that we're hearing during this political season. Actually, I saw a headline from Fox Business this week, and it was interesting. They say trillion is actually the new billion to these candidates because they're tossing out price tags for all these programs they'd love to implement, but there are trillion-dollar price tags now, not billions. Isn't that amazing?
Jennifer, it is mind-numbing. And this is one of those little things, and I have done this in my classes for years. I've actually done this on the air several times. Guys, when politicians like to throw around these numbers, million, billion, trillion, quintillion, godzillion, whatever they say, the thing of it is that I don't think they have a clue even what it means. So my 9-year-old and I were talking the other day because she's trying to figure out money. You know, she wants to spend money and think about, you know, how much she has to save to get something she wants. Okay. Because we're training her, you know, in our house, we're giving lessons on being fiscally conservative and being fiscally responsible. You know, understanding what we spend. Is it appropriate? Should we do these things? And so we were going through this and we were talking about how much is $100? You know, how much would $1,000 be? You know, how much is that for the cost of a vehicle? And then we started talking about large amounts, like $1 trillion. And one of the things that we realized, and it's something I've taught on the show before, and we're going to do it again today, is how much is $1 trillion? You know, when politicians say, oh, this is only going to cost $1 trillion. I mean, chump change, John. Well, how much is $1 trillion? So let's think about that, guys. If you were to count backwards 1 trillion seconds ago, now, listen, don't do this if you're driving. I do not want you to careen into the wrong lane. But if you were to count backwards 1 trillion seconds ago, what year would it be? No, believe it or not. Jennifer, what do you think?
You've told me before. It is something I was dead wrong the first time you got me to answer. So I think the first time I said, let's see, like 45 AD. It's even worse than that. That's a long time ago. But.
Yeah, so 1 trillion seconds ago was 30,000 BC.
Wow.
30,000 years before the birth of Christ, because it was roughly 32,000 years ago was 1 trillion seconds ago. So if someone ever offers you a job and says, I will pay you $1 a second, you will never be a trillionaire.
Right. That's what you
No
need
matter
to know.
how much money you think that is, if you get paid $1 a second, you will die long before you get to $1 trillion. And so that's how much money it is. So one of the things, Jennifer, that we've been hearing over the last couple of weeks, and even Saturday Night Live this last week, gave an homage to all of the presidential hopefuls and what they would spend on things. But listen, Jennifer, we actually looked at a report and it went through the simple math on all the promises that all these Democrats are promising everyone.
Yeah, Investors Business Daily broke it down. I thought it was really interesting. The actual cost of socialism here.
It's mind-numbing because then you understand what socialism really is. It means that they are stealing everything from all of us to then give it right back to all of us after they take their piece. Here's some of the laundry list of the promises that have been made recently. So if we were to give out free college for everybody, everyone deserves free college. Are you feeling the burn yet? You should. Because this is going to cost $807 billion. Yeah, so free college would cost the country about $807 billion.
And I think that's probably on the low end, actually.
I do too, because that's probably state schools. This is not talking about Harvard and Yale and Cornell and Wake Forest and Duke. Boo
again,
and all these other this is just free college would be about $800 billion. That's probably very much on the low end. But let's talk about what if they expanded Social Security. Now this would help a lot of us, right? If we were already getting Social Security, it would be wonderful. We would love it. But if they were to do what all these promises are saying, it's $188 billion more. Now guys, let me ask you a quick question. Social Security already has on the letter it used to send to us. And by the way, they don't do this anymore. They don't do this anymore. But they used to, and in one of those sentences, it said specifically, unless something major changes, the Social Security Trust Fund will not have enough money to pay more than 75 cents on the dollar for every dollar you're promised, which basically means the government's going to have to potentially cut our benefits by 25% by 2031.
Oof.
I saw another report that said 2034, but the idea is if you're in your 60s now, that's smack dab in the middle of your retirement, guys.
Right.
And so the government has already promised us that they're going to have to increase these. Listen, they already did it in writing. Now, the government does a lot of things, not even in writing, but this is in writing. So if they're going to put it in writing and say, unless we do some major changes, we're going to only give you 75 cents on the dollar, listen, I perk up a little bit. I'm like, this is any attorney would say, hey, this is you're warning them. You're putting it in writing. You're giving them warning. Guys, this was warning. This was the original shot on the bow of our own retirements. So when you look at that and they're saying that they want to have another $188 billion more dollars to fund that, where's that coming from?
Right. And why didn't they just leave their hands off the other billions that they've already touched?
If they had left the other billions alone, we wouldn't have to do this.
Yeah.
But they're talking about a Social Security expansion, almost $200 billion. They're talking about giving everyone free health care.
Of course.
Free health care for everyone.
Price tag on this, Bernie?
$32 trillion. Now there's the T.
Oh.
And that's why we're doing this. Guys, if you look out there at the current state of the debt of America, $22 trillion. And it's more. It's $22.5 trillion now. $22.5 trillion. And we already know how much a trillion is, right? 30,000 BC was 1 trillion seconds ago. We already got $22.5 trillion in debt. And the single payer healthcare crap that they're trying to shove down our throats is $32 trillion in cost on top of all the other crap that's going on. Yeah. This is impossible. This is ridiculous. This is ludicrous. And these are the promises. My point in saying all this is, has it actually hit in that these campaign promises, not only are they outlandish, not only are they ridiculous, not only are they self-serving, they can't do it. And if they did it, they're going to be stealing the very freedom that we earned in the first place. I do not subscribe to any bit of this, not one single bit. Because here's the problem. When you give these politicians this soapbox time, if you will, then all of a sudden, $1 trillion here, $1 trillion there, and pretty soon you're talking about real money. Guys, this is not the government's money. This is your money.
Right.
This is your aunt's money. This is your grandmother's money. This is your friend's money. This is your children's money. This is my money. This is our money. So when they're saying that they're going to spend all this money and we don't currently have it, who are they going after to get it? If you're looking in the mirror, you're exactly right. And if you've saved well, what do I mean by saved well? Because they already know where they're going to get the money. They're going to get the money from the biggest chunk of cash they know exists in the entire country.
Where are those trillions stashed, John?
They're stashed in our 401ks, IRAs, 403bs, 457 plans, tax-deferred annuities. That's right, guys. They already know exactly where they're going to get the money because bank robbers rob banks because that's where the money is. And the money in America is in our retirement savings. That's right. It is. As a matter of fact, we owe $22 trillion, $22.5 trillion in federal debt. But we have over 30-something trillion, 32, I haven't seen the exact number recently, 32, 34 trillion in those savings accounts. So now are we hitting full circle on what I've been saying for so long? Of course, I don't want these scandals and scallywags to get into office and steal our money. But is it now the time that we don't just posture this, don't just make this comment? Is it not now the time that we decide if we're going to shuffle money into tax-free accounts to keep it out of their dirty, greasy paws? Promise other people money that you own? It's not their money, it's yours. Is it not time to do that? I say it is. You need to understand how to shuffle assets from your tax-deferred accounts into tax-free. You need to understand that, listen, I don't care if it happens this presidential cycle or the next one. People are out there to steal the money that you have saved for one simple reason. There are so many people out there that don't have anything because they didn't do anything for it, which is why they don't have it. But politicians are promising that they can have it. And guess who they're going to take it from to give it to them? You. That is not the world I want to live in. That's not the capitalism I created. That is not the world that my grandfather and my father and my uncles fought to keep this country safe, to keep this country free. So believe me, guys, if you want to understand one thing about what's going to happen if the other side wins, they're coming after your money. So let's turn a bad story into a good story here.
Yes.
Fix it. 2 words. Fix it. How do we fix it? Number 1, understand how much money you have that the government can get access to. Number 2, reduce that as much as possible that makes sense for your financial situation. And number 3, understand that this is going to have some short-term pain. It will. It will. But long-term, are we going to win? I honestly feel that we will. This is called asset shifting. It's probably the smartest thing that we can all do, regardless of the politicians, regardless of the outlook of the country, regardless of a recession, regardless of anything. If all these people are out there clamoring after your money, keep it from them. Yeah. Right? It's like a gate outside your house. It's like an ADT security system. It's like a privacy passcode on your email. Why don't we just do that? And then they can't get access to it. And that's the whole point. You want to thwart a burglar, hide the crap from them in the first place.
Connect with us at retirementsolutionradio.com.
Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if John Hicks is licensed in your state, please call 502-690-5635. J. Hagan Capital Inc. is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through John Hicks, Kentucky Insurance License number 998827.